The Fallout TV show Season 2. I'm gonna just say it straight out. I think it's gonna be absolutely horrible. Barely watchable, complete slop. It's gonna destroy the lore and everything else. And why do I think so? Well, because Season 1 probably did everything it could. It had a baseline of things that need to happen. It set up characters, and they actually had storylines planned for them, even though the storylines in a lot of cases, especially Maximus's case, were complete dog water without question. At least they had something. And you could tell they ran out of ideas roughly from episode 8 or something like that, I think. How many episodes were there? I don't even remember at this point. But in the last episodes, you know that they ran out of ideas because they just did this. Oh, look at this kooky thing. They're in a vault. She almost killed someone and, made someone a cripple, but that's fine. The punishment, letting you leave the vault with a care package. I think Season 2 is going to be a lot of that kind of slop and stupidity. Straight out, that's my prediction.
Over the past couple of weeks, we've been getting some major updates on Season 2 of the Fallout TV show, and some of the details being shared have major implications for the future of the Fallout franchise, as the TV show may be deciding a canon ending for Fallout New Vegas, and even Mr. House is described.
Todd Howard is finally putting the final nail in the New Vegas coffin. He did it, boys. He's finally correcting history and destroying Fallout New Vegas. Todd, what a man.
Is playing a role in Season 2. But Season 2 of the Fallout TV show may also be coming out much sooner than you think. One of the points we've constantly seen brought up around the Fallout TV show is how the popularity of the show is an immense surprise. Prime Video reported how 65 million people viewed Season 1 of Fallout within the first 16 days of release, making this the second largest release in Prime Video's history. And considering the fact that
I think a very important note here is that it's literally competing with the Rings of Power. So, a lot of viewers don't exactly mean that it's the bestest thing ever.
#1 show with The Boys is currently...
And we all know that The Boys season 4 is kind of burning down really fast. And a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, Season 2 of The Boys already was complete garbage, technically.
Having its series finale air right now on Prime Video, it kind of makes Fallout the de facto #1 show going forward. And as such, all indications are pointing to the fact that Amazon wants Season 2 of Fallout out as soon as possible. The showrunners, as well as the main protagonists of the show, have recently done
breedable. I was at first not fine, but, hey, if I make a mistake, boys, I am willing to admit it. And I was first not exactly okay with Mrs. Parnell here. And by Mrs. because she's married to me, okay? Leave her alone. But we all make mistakes. And I will say, I would breathe and spit between those eyes, baby, okay? It is what it is. I own up to my mistakes.
On a series of interviews, and it was described how the showrunners quite literally are stepping out of the writer's room for these interviews, as Season 2 writing is fully underway right now, and they go a bit more in detail around all of this in a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter. We're going as fast as we possibly can, and we got a lot of heavy lifting from Season 1 already done. We have sets, assets, visual effects that are already done. We are hitting the ground running this season. We're going to be...
I hope they're gonna make Fallout look more like Mad Max, augmented people and, stupid crap like that. That every surface dweller is literally mentally deficient and acting like a 5-year-old.
Pedal to the metal to get Season 2 out as fast as humanly possible. So it seems like what happened was, after the overwhelming success of Season 1 of Fallout, Amazon renewed the show and immediately got those showrunners working on Season 2. It honestly sounds like they had virtually no downtime between Season 1 releasing and Season 2 writing beginning. But that's not entirely a bad thing, because it seems like a lot of the work done...
Oh my god, imagine the writers had to do a job like the rest of us every day. The horror! The writers finished the show and now they don't get their 2 years of all expenses free data? How dare they? Oh, the poor writers. Think about the poor slop creators.
for season 1 will be able to be carried over to get an even faster season 2, as well as some of the plot lines are already being visualized and even
Brotherhood is such a joke, it's insane.
Explained with some high-level details in these interviews. We definitely have an idea of where some characters are headed in season 2, which I'll look at more closely later on in this video. And we've also heard how some of these season 2 plot lines were already partially written. There's so many things we wanted to do in season 1 where we were like, that could be amazing, let's do it in season 2. So it feels like we're much farther along. It basically seems like they had a lot of interesting ideas.
Oh, look at that, it's the immortal goal speakers reasons.
Going into Fallout Season 1, began writing scripts for a
They're
ton of...
literally immune to any damage unless it's a main character shooting them in the pinky. Then they die. Then they just die.
Those ideas, but then realized, oh, this won't work yet, and shelved a bunch of stuff. But now, since they're just jumping into season 2 almost immediately, they can immediately go back to that shelf and take those scripts off the wall to start working on them once again and fleshing things out for season 2. So Fallout Season 2 returning in 2025 seems like a very realistic possibility, particularly when you consider, as the showrunners pointed out, they already have so many sets complete and filming on season 2 will be even easier since they're moving to California now. I feel like this is going to be relatively smooth sailing because we have so much great desert right here in California. We're going to start scouting locations we literally can drive from the writer's room. That was tricky about New York. We were shooting partially in the summer and partially in the middle of winter. And some of those exteriors, the gray skies, they're just not as beautiful. So as you can start to see, a lot of things are going for a Fallout Season 2 coming out pretty quickly. Some of the writing work has already been done from Season 1, but they're already writing Season 2. But then even further, you have a bunch of sets already built. They're moving filming to California, where the TV show literally takes place. And for me personally, I suspect they are internally targeting a 2025 date. And even in this interview, I think one of the showrunners wanted to mention 2025, but he doesn't, and instead says the internet has an interesting habit of making non-binding statements binding. So I'm hesitant to give a date that will be taken out of context and live on Reddit for a year or so.
So you think it's going to happen in 2025, but no one said that, but you think that they actually wanted to say that? Man, Juice, you're such a Nostradamus, it's actually insane. It's like, tips for daughter.
So yeah, to me, 2025 seems hopeful, but it also doesn't seem all that unrealistic. At this current rate, it almost sounds like they could begin filming Season 2 in 2024, particularly when you consider that basically everyone wants Season 2 out as fast as humanly possible. But thanks to this rapid progress, we've also already started to hear about some of the plot lines that...
I think if Season 1 was an aggressive 5 out of 10, Season 2 is going to be probably a 4 or 3 out of 10. And Season 3 is probably going to happen, and it's going to be so bad no one's going to watch it. I think the tourists are over. Some magically how the Fallout TV show just got so many tourists. Never played Fallout, never gave a shit, but now they're just watching it, and because they watched it, it needs to be good, or, you know, it's better, or they can't live with themselves. I think the tourists are over.
That will come to fruition in Season 2. But speaking of rapid progress, do you like waiting for your food to be ready? Because if you'd rather...
Yes.
Now, looking ahead at Fallout Season 2, we hear how the overarching feel of the show is expected to continue. I'm really excited to continue in Season 2 is that blend of tones. That the show can have sitcom moments that are juxtaposed with people shooting each other, which is good.
Well, actually, it's just sitcom moments. The fighting in this series is literally sitcoms. Episode God fucking damn 2. Or was it 1? What I can't even remember now. When the Ghoul was fighting Maximus in power armor, they were... How long were they fighting? Like a couple of minutes straight. And turns out the Ghoul knows about this magical spot in power armor where you can shoot, and it, you know, it's a weak point and it instantaneously kills anyone inside it. Don't know, don't ask questions, just keep on trucking. How is that possible? And, well, you know, the Ghoul, while having his gun, never does that against Maximus. And the Maximus, while being in power armor, gets stuck on a plank of wood because, you know, power armor is not literally a tank that, you know, even a second before was shown to be able to hurl almost, you know, giant rocks hundreds of meters in distance. But, you know, getting stuck between a small piece of wood that's probably not even nailed to another piece of wood, that was a kerfuffle right there. And the fact that Maximus literally punches the Ghoul multiple times with the force equivalent of punching a hole in anything, doesn't kill him, doesn't even injure him, and best of all, he never even tries to attempt to, just, kind of just take his arm or something like that and rip it off or squash his head. Yeah, it's a joke. All the combat scenes here, complete jokes. Complete bull.
Season 1 of Fallout did manage to strike that really nice balance of genuine laugh-out-loud moments that would almost immediately cut to other
If you laughed out loud at any moment in Fallout, you don't have a functioning IQ.
moments where you want to look away because of how fucked up it is. I have to imagine that's a really difficult balance to strike. The feel of Fallout is very specific, but I'm happy that they recognize this as a major point that made Season 1 work so well, and are focusing on bringing back that same feel for Season 2. But one of the other major through points we keep seeing described for Season 2 is major character growth on really all three fronts. Maximus, Lucy, and the Ghoul all kind of ended Season 1 with a
What character growth? The Ghoul and Lucy have character growth. Maximus is, hopefully he's gonna get killed in the next episode. I have talked extensively about Lucy and the Ghoul dynamics because they are diametrical opposites to one another. Actually, it's been a long while, so I'm just gonna go on the rant. Lucy's and the Ghoul stories are really good because Lucy is the naive that, by the way, completely does not get brought up or played out well by anything in this series, but she's supposed to be this naive person that's trusting and kind and whatnot. The Ghoul was that person in his previous life. He was rich, but he did not let money fully take over his life. He was a nice guy. But when the bombs fell, he needed to change to survive. And now he sees himself in the past in Lucy and how she does things. And in fact, she's even arguably more kinder and generally more wholesome person than her. And she tries to be good. And the Ghoul sees this as a laughingstock, a weakness. And he wants to prove to herself, to prove to himself, that he made the right choice to change. So he, through his actions and showing her a lot of things and doing a lot of things and trying to force her to do a lot of things, is trying to make her break, to succumb and also becoming a worse person, more brutal, more violent, and starting to understand that her kindness is stupidity. But Lucy doesn't break. And the Ghoul understands that at the end. He understands that she actually got, kind of stuff done and whatnot, while not forsaking her morality, her view on life and whatnot. Which is great character development, by the way. But I also do honestly think it's accidental. I'm not gonna lie, I do think it's accidental. But I saw it that way, and I think it perfectly fits. I liked it a lot. Absolutely the biggest highlight of the show, this character dynamic. But everything else was brainless, gutter trash that should be forgotten and deleted. Especially Maximus's storyline of being a spiteful, resentful loser who is willing to do everything, even though the Brotherhood is his family and it's the biggest thing, and Maximus is just a goddamn clown who doesn't even know what he wants in life and doesn't understand anything, okay? It's horrible, but the Brotherhood is also an equivalent bunch of complete morons, so I guess it's good.
A revelation that has the potential to really propel them forward in Season 2. And obviously, characters grow over the course of the TV show, but specifically with these characters, it almost feels like each of these could have a fairly significant change-up when it comes to Season 2 compared to how they behaved and acted in Season 1. Lucy finds out the realities around her parents, Maximus seeing the realities of the Wasteland and the Brotherhood of Steel, and the Ghoul
Maximus was born in the fucking Wasteland. He knows them.
On a direct pursuit to his...
You don't even understand that, do you? The fact that he wasn't born in a vault. He has seen the horrors of the Wasteland for a very long time. Him being with Lucy or whatever has not opened his eyes in the slightest.
Family, but now with Lucy kind of in tow with him. And from recent interviews, we do get to hear a bit more about what type of growth we can expect.
The Ghoul does not consider Lucy family, and the Lucy doesn't consider the Ghoul family. Has he even been watching the same show?
expect as those two characters begin to adventure together. On this new Lucy and the ghoul relationship, Walton Goggins describes how it isn't father-daughter. I think it is a person who has seen the loss of
Yeah, it's not a father-daughter, but that's Walter Goggins describing it, and he's not a blabbering idiot.
Innocence in another person and deeply empathizes with it because he himself went through a similar experience 200
Okay, so this was actually in. I find okay. The fact that I feel extremely vindicated now. Not gonna lie, kind of happy, very vindicated that yes, this is exactly what this was supposed to be. But I'm also kind of torn because so you're telling me they actually created this actually good The Ghoul and Lucy storyline, which worked out, was great on a lot of levels. You know, I mean, it started a little bit rough because here you didn't exactly understand why the Ghoul's being a dick. Now he is a dick, but you know, he's kind of being a little bit extra dickish against Lucy here for, you know, apparently not that many good reasons. It started off a little bit rough, but again, it was really quickly you understood what's going on. But, so you're telling me the writers actually made this storyline intentionally, and everything around it was so unbelievably trash my eyes want to bleed. I had this actually really hard to actually swallow. Feeling vindicated, again, pretty good about that, but I find this hard to swallow, that they made a good storyline like this. One of the actually better storylines in all of the year, by the way, if I'm being completely honest. And yet and everything else was so trash.
person who has seen the loss of innocence in another person and deeply empathizes with it because he himself went through a similar experience 200 years earlier.
Oh wait, no, but he doesn't empathize with that. He wants justification for him becoming like that. He tries to break Lucy. I guess this is in disagreement though.
And is still reeling from the loss of that innocence that his tone changes. And when he says, "Are you coming?" I just think that's a pretty cool way to go out. It really seems like the show setting up Lucy and the Ghoul to have a closer connection in season 2, with each adopting traits of the other person. It sounds like the Ghoul's path will move to him being a bit.
If we just, you know, forget that the Brotherhood exists, completely forsake them, completely forget Maximus exists, and just concentrate on the Ghoul and Lucy moving forward and finding other people to interact with, that could be good. That could actually be good. But, yeah, that's not happening now, is it?
Less ruthless as he regains some humanity, while conversely, Lucy moves to become even more ruthless as she becomes a true and proper wastelander. And the show
She doesn't become more ruthless. She just becomes more capable at doing the things that must be done, but she does not become ruthless at all. She just, you know, starts doing things that she even then understand kind of must be done, but she's too afraid because, you know, killing someone is probably a an experience that you don't really want to get.
Showrunners go on to describe what we're already into in season 2 is exploring how far we want to push this character Lucy. How much do we want to see her hang onto herself? It becomes the game of the show in its own way. More so than with anyone else, it feels like season 1 is us watching Lucy lose her innocence.
God. No, so this was an accident. Goggins just kind of looked at this, I guess, in a positive light, and he came to the almost same conclusion as me, so... Man, if they make Lucy into this brutal psychotic murderer, what's even the point of season 1? There's no character growth in there at all if they do this. And that would actually be sad.
And it almost feels like part of her character arc is already completed based off of what happens in the finale of season 1. So I wouldn't be shocked if even right out of the gate, we see a bit of a different Lucy with season 2. But for me, the character I am most excited to see continued is Maximus. As it's described, he ends up with—
Are you kidding me? Are you trying to joke around here? Maximus?
with an obliteration of optimism. And in recent interviews, it is described how that loss of optimism drives him through the rest of the series. And that feels like a real—
What loss of optimism? The guy's an idiot who doesn't know even what his moral code is, what is good and what is bad. and he gets rewarded for being incompetent. What do you mean?
Really big implication. It's not even like they're just saying for the rest of season 2, but for the whole freaking show. Just like Lucy, I have to imagine that as we revisit Maximus in season 2, he's going to look
War never changes, and so do diversity hires at this point, it seems.
very different compared to how we saw him for the vast majority of season 1. But season 2 is not only going to be exploring the future of these characters, but it'll be introducing a bunch of new stuff as well. The ending of Fallout season 1 revealed that things are headed towards New Vegas, and in a recent interview, the showrunners confirmed this even more explicitly.
Many of our lead characters are Vegas bound, and Las Vegas in the world of Fallout is Robert House's town. Robert House
But it looks dead.
is Robert House.
The big problem with this reveal was not the fact that it's New Vegas, it's the fact that, yeah, this place looks dead. Everything here kind of looks destroyed. At least that's kind of my take on it. There's like a couple of villages here and there, but this just looks bad.
House's town. That Robert House
Might have something to do with it.
will be involved in season 2.
So as you could probably imagine, the second this interview went live, thousands of Reddit posts were made speculating around what this could all mean. Specifically around the quote that Fallout Season 2 will be taking us to the Vegas Strip, but even more notably, Robert House will be involved in Season 2. At the end of the Fallout TV show, we see how the Vegas Strip has largely been destroyed. You can see remnants of the
Oh, I did not see this.
NCR, Securitrons, and even Deathclaws. Based off what they show, it really seems like the battle for Vegas happened here, and it ended, with almost everyone losing. Vegas just looks like it's in disrepair now. The showrunners have further confirmed that Deathclaws will be
Exactly as Todd Howard wanted. See Vegas dead.
a part of Season 2, so they'll play a role perhaps here in Vegas, but also just in general throughout the show. But they also have given us some color on this credit scene in a past interview, saying, all we want the audience to know is that things have happened, so that there isn't an expectation that we pick the show up in Season 2, following one of the myriad canon endings that depends on your choices when you play Fallout New Vegas. And to me, that response is really interesting. From other interviews, we've heard how Todd Howard only asked one thing of the showrunners, and that was to not canonize any endings from the various Fallout games. That only actually applies to 2 games, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. The rest have had a canonized ending from some of the other games to release. So taking that together with the fact that Robert House is involved in Season 2 leads me to believe that we'll mostly be seeing him as a pre-war character, just like how we saw him in Season 1. Otherwise, you seemingly would need to canonize one of the endings
All of this is bunk, all of this is wrong, all of this makes absolutely no sense.
of New Vegas because, well, spoilers, but Mr. House doesn't survive all of the endings of Fallout New Vegas. And honestly, I think this could make a ton of sense. At the end of Season 1, we see a largely destroyed New Vegas, and I wouldn't be shocked if the NCR attacked. They used what power they had to try and take Vegas for themselves, and maybe it didn't go that well. Maybe a Deathclaw attack broke out in the middle of a war between the Securitrons and the NCR that just led to everyone dying, and that's the reason the NCR are so weak throughout the entirety of the Fallout TV show. But House is just dead, and it's never really clarified whether he died in the New Vegas ending or during some of these conflicts that occurred after the ending of New Vegas. 15 years have passed now for the time of the TV show. I wouldn't be shocked if they just don't clarify that. Because at the same time, seeing pre-war House is almost more exciting to me. One of the other standout shots in the finale of the show is this panning shot to the Tops Cryo Suites, the Tops being a casino on the Strip. This seems to be the likely explanation as to how Moldaver survived from pre-war to over 100
Who cares how Moldaver survived? None of her story makes sense. That's one, obviously. 2, she's dead. Moldaver has 50 billion loose endings and non-coherent... Okay, I'm not gonna go into this. No. The Moldaver rant is way too long. This character makes no sense at no point. She's literally an imbecile. Same as everyone else in the show, honestly. But, you know, she's an extra imbecile. She's literally competing with Buds for being the most stupid, generic, completely nonsensical character ever designed. Lucy, you're like a daughter to me. But I kind of let raiders just, you know, run wild and kill everyone. And, you know, the raider that slept with you, yeah, kind of didn't care about that one. And, you know, the fact that he tried to kill you, I love you, Lucy. It's fine. It's fine. God, I hate this character. Literal trash. But thankfully, she's dead. Because Listen, the more storylines get concluded in this TV show with, oh well, I guess the character's dead now and we can't know why things happened, is good, because it's not like these showrunners would ever be able to explain anything with a satisfying above 50 IQ explanation.
Years later at the time of the TV show. She was cryogenically frozen within the tops. This leads me to believe that we could see some really cool pre-war interactions between Moldaver and House in Vegas. And just in general, perhaps the rise of House, how he really got as much power as we see him have at the time of Fallout New Vegas. You can see a ton of interesting interactions between House and Moldaver. She tries to build up her resistance movement, as well as one other.
He just literally asked for a retcon, because in lore, House predicts that the SWAT is coming, but the Fallout TV show retconned it as Vault-Tec launched the nukes and made everything happen. So House saying he predicted the SWAT to happen is absolute bull. This is gonna fully destroy and retcon all lore surrounding New Vegas, and Todd Howard is probably smiling because of it.
Other factor that could come into play with all of this is Vault-Tec HQ. To go along with the TV show, they've been releasing a ton of Vault-Tec promotional videos, and one of them showed this epic Vault-Tec HQ that looks very similar to Vault Zero. Vault Zero is from Fallout Tactics, and it contained a Vault-Tec supercomputer as well as cryogenically frozen Vault-Tec members. This seems like too large of a coincidence to just be thrown in here randomly with this video, and it could even come into play as the location of Cooper Howard's wife and daughter. We know Cooper Howard's wife was a member of Vault-Tec, so it seems plausible that she could be frozen at their HQ. And that too could all come into play with the Moldaver/House plotline in the pre-war. Or maybe none of that. They of course could just do something.
No one cares. Okay, I am so done. Anyway, that was Juicehead. The Fallout TV show is gonna destroy itself. What a time to be alive. Bye.